we've covered in this series of exploring the hand the anatomy of the extensors, incisions to access the extensors. We've also covered access to the palm. Today we are covering, well, to the palm and to the fingers on the volar side. We are covering today the Adelaide tendon repair. These start similarly as with all the others. You pick your suture, you do a core repair and an epitendinous. My preference is to do it with a monofilament, but you can use a braided. I use polyprolene 3/0 on a round bodied needle. You see that right there? A round bodied needle. That means when you pass your suture backwards and forwards, it's less likely to cut the suture because the body is round rather than cutting or reverse cutting. Cutting is on the inside, reverse cutting is on the back. Never forget that. When you take out your suture, you hold the swage end, you pull one way and stretch the other to take out the memory, so that when you're tying your knots, it's not the memory coming out, it's the actual suture pulling together. It starts with a bite that is a set distance from the edge of the wound. What's that distance? Do you remember? 3, 2, 1. So between 7 millimeters and a centimeter. Do you use a forceps or a non-toothed? I prefer to use a toothed forceps because I hold it once. I don't have to apply too much pressure. I cause less trauma than if I was using a non-tooth. The non-tooth just apply far more pressure, for me anyway. But I only hold it the once and I try not to keep coming off and on until I've just done one side. The other thing that I think is really important, sorry, I keep distracting. I think it's good to be flexible with your needle holder. So the palm grip and the mounted grip, I think, are two maneuvers you need to be happy to switch between, and any amalgamation of the in between. Move with the repair. So if you're trying to get over here, move your body to this side. If you're trying to get over here, move your body this way. Don't try and do everything from the same position. So you may have to stand. Sometimes in theatre, you operate at depth in a small surgical field. So we were talking about what the end point is for your tying of knots. Hopefully you recall what we said in the previous videos. If not, catch up and watch up. But I'll tell you now anyway. So when you tie your knot for your repair, your finger will be flexing. So let's say this index finger was the injured one. When you're tying a knot, the finger will start to flex. You don't tie it till the finger goes like this because that's not a natural position of the hand. That's not the tenodesis or the cascade of the fingers at rest. The cascade of the fingers at rest is like this. They progressively curl up, all fingers pointing towards the thenar eminence, and the index finger is the least curled up, the little finger is the most curled up. So when you're tightening your knot for this finger, tendon repair, the FDP for example, which is the one that inserts into the distal phalanx base, you tighten it till it gets to its normal resting position. I typically go just a little bit tighter and no further. You don't want this because that's not the resting position. You just want it to be just a bit tighter than its normal cascade position. And then you want to test your repair. So if that's in that finger, you're going to open it and close it, open it and close it. And you're going to be looking at the glide in the wound because there are pulleys, which we discussed in one of our previous sessions. The most important pulleys are A2 and A4. The one here and the one here. That stops it from bowstringing, and you'll be testing that repair backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards to make sure that it's gliding, but also that the repair is not gapping. If it doesn't glide, because it's catching on pulleys, you have to release some pulleys. It's called venting. As I said, A2 and A4 are the most important. You need at least A2 and some of the sheath to stop it from bowstringing, where the tendon lifts off the bone and it loses its mechanical advantage in flexing the finger. So you need A2 and A4. A2, the most important, I believe. Someone can correct me in the comments if that's wrong. Then if it's gapping, you you probably need to redo the repair. If it ruptures, you need to redo the repair. It's better you find out these things on table than afterwards. The point on which tendons are most likely to rupture post-operatively is day 10, because the tendon gets softer a bit before it starts to scar properly. It gets softer and then it gets more robust. So day 10 is the stage where the tendon's likely to rupture. In terms of splinting your tendon, the movement that's going to test your repair more than you want it to, is extension of the finger. That will stretch your flexor tendon repair. So you put them into a dorsal blocking splint. The position of rest is about 20 degrees extension at the wrist, 70 to 90 at the MCPJs, and completely neutral at the interphalangeal joints. That's so that the collateral ligaments, the volar plate, are at full length, so that if the hand, for example, was to get stuck in this position, it would be at its most strength. If you try it, you can bend your wrist back, your knuckles forward, and your fingers straight. Your flexion is still pretty strong, and you can abduct your fingers a little bit. Whereas if you put your wrist all the way down, your flexion is a bit weaker, and your opening of fingers is also weaker. And then when the patient gets their function back, if the ligaments are out to length, they're not going to be short and function impaired. So it's really important that you put them into a position where the intrinsic ligaments of the hand, the volar plate, the collateral ligaments, are out to full length. Neutral in the IPJs, 70 to 90 degrees in the MCPJs, and about 20 degrees of extension at the wrist. Dorsal blocking plaster for the flexors, a volar splint for extensor tendon repairs. That was the Adelaide repair. If you got value, press like, share with colleagues, become a subscriber. We're only a few subscribers away from 20k followers, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being part of our community. We'll see you next week. This will be available on replay for members only, so feel free to join.